thing we'll do is the invocation, and I'm going to ask Chaplain Ricker to come up and lead us in that, and then Tim Ward will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for this day, and we ask you to give wisdom and knowledge to our city leaders as always, God, and thank you for having your hand on Greenville and Greene County. God, we ask you to bless Miss Kidwell and Mr. Ward on their new adventures, and thank you for their service, and continue to help us to do your will and seek your face every day, God. You are the only way to heaven. In Jesus' name, amen.
Place the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need some more seating. There's some here, and there's one back here.
Yeah, there's more seats up here if y'all want to come sit down.
On the side here.
But you don't have to if you don't want to. As far as the mayor's comments go, we've got a pretty special thing that's going on today. We've got a young man that's been working with the town for 40 years, and he's here tonight so we can recognize him for his years and years of service. So Patsy, can you come up?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I always love doing this, and I always will. This one's extra special with 44 years with the town, so I think he could be called Mr. Greenville. William Barner. Probably have a few folks that might want to come up and say some great things about William. But I want to present him at this time with the plaque for 44 years of service.
You want to say something?
Do I want to say something? After 44 years of service, I do. It's been a long time, a long journey. And just looking out at all the people here, I certainly appreciate everyone being here. My funeral home family, my work family, police department, everybody, the community, everyone that supports me. I certainly appreciate y'all. I started as a young man and never envisioned that I would be here 44 years and be in the position that I am today. Thanks to Brad Peters, he made a lot of it possible. I was going to Tuscan College to work back in 2008, 9. Brad looked at me, he said, "You're not going anywhere." So he made me Public Works Assistant Director, and here I am, you know? Thank you, thank you. The community, I appreciate you all so very much. This means a lot to me. I don't know how to express my thanks. My work family, everybody has worked with me for the last 44 years. Thank you. And I don't know if this is on or not.
Testing.
Okay.
It is, sir.
So Tony's been by my side for years, and he and I have worked together for many, many years. And we come in when it was 4 o'clock in the morning, trees were down. We helped the police department. They'd call. We'd come in, cut trees out of the road, or whatever we need to do. Thank you, Tony. He was He was a big part, help for me, and I thank you very much. All the planning department, everybody has helped me. Nicole, Butch, we worked together for a lot. School system, I know we worked together for many times. You know, they would call, and if I could help them, I would, you know. I always tried to help people. That was my philosophy, because you never know when I needed help, you know. And we'd get out there and we just done things to help, you know, and that was what I wanted to do. And I'm appreciative of my time in this department. I really am, because I've helped so many people, and that's evident by the people in this room. A lot of important people. Everybody's important. I appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you very much. Stephen, we didn't know each other. He came to work over at Public Works, Spano. We became friends. We're still friends today. I appreciate that. Kevin, Josh, Eddie, Danny, I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here. So if you need me, you can call me. And
I was gonna say, your phone is always blown up.
yeah,
so people can probably still call you.
I'll be here. So I'm not leaving town, so I'll still be available. So with that, I just want to say thank you and thank you. If I can ever help anyone, I certainly will. Certainly will. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Mills. Thank you, Reverend Mills. I just see Reverend Mills come here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Great man. Great man you are. You're more than welcome.
I'd like to say one thing about Williams real quick. I don't think this town truly realizes what they're losing. I don't need that.
Yes.
This man gave his life to town. He's probably one of the hardest working people I ever met. There wasn't a time I couldn't talk to him 24/7. That man would answer his phone to get what this town needs. And we're truly going to miss him. I love him for who he is, and I love him for what he stands for. We're going to miss him, guys. The man worked hard, and he deserved everything he got. So, I'm gonna give him a hug. Yeah, no, I like a hug. Give me a hug.
Is there anybody else that'd like to come up and say anything?
We have refreshments at the end of the meeting if you would like to stay around and get.
Well, I'll make it short and sweet. He's been the best to work for. He's given me many opportunities in my career to grow. Been a boss, he's been a friend, and he's been a brother. William, I appreciate you. You'll be missed. For a few months, anyway. We really appreciate what he's been to us. He's been a great leader. We couldn't be more thankful, thank God, for people like him and Brad. And we've got Scott. We've had good leaders over the years. Appreciate you.
I don't feel so bad.
If I can, not to prolong things, I know everybody's waiting for refreshments and everything. But, I've known William ever since I've been in Greene County. And, he's a man. Doesn't show favoritism, but if you need something, it doesn't matter what time he's done stuff, that Steve was saying. I see William riding down the road in this truck. I pull over to the side, William, I need this. William, can you do this? He'll get it done just like that. No favoritism. If it needs doing, William will do it. William, his family over in the hood, over there across the railroad track, he's done a wonderful job. George Flynn Multicultural Alliance, since I've been affiliated with that organization, it takes a lot to put on that program. And something, call William Barnum, go get it, signs, garbage cans, whatever you need. William's gonna take care. All you gotta do is let him know what it is you need, and he'll do it. I've seen him drive the trash truck. He's picked up stuff from the cemetery where we cut down brush. If he can't get somebody to do it, William's gonna come over there and get it done. So you don't have to worry about having to request, oh, we don't have anybody to do that today. Well, I can't do that. William can, and he will do it, and he did it. And thank you, William Barnum.
That's Willie, he's bashful.
I think there's one qualification about William is he led by example. You know, like Brother Edmonds was saying, anytime the streets need cleaning or always call somebody else, he did it himself. I've seen him come out on the tractor at 7 o'clock in the morning, mowing the field behind my house and even up and down Sunset Street. Things that you don't always get for free in life. Will, and I'll say this earnestly. The path that you've left a legacy for many people. You've raised the bar for a lot of people to show what true management and true leadership is all about.
So William and I have got to work the parade for what, 22, 24 years, so we became very close. But what stood out to me mostly for William is, we were going through the McDonald's drive-thru, and we knew not very close. And I was having a horrible day, and I was just down on life. So I get to the drive-thru, and I see William smiling going like this in the rearview mirror. That always stood out to me. So then I tried to always get in front of him in the line. But it never worked for me. But I would say this, if always positive and encouraging.
Everybody done said what I wanted to say, but I'm still gonna say it anyway. You are too big. You always have been. I'm his cousin, brother. But he's always been winning. He's always done for everybody. And we're gonna miss you, because you done for the churches as well as for everybody else. And I just wanna say thank you, and you will be.
Thank you. Thank you, William. You're a good man. I don't know where to go after that.
I think we should just eat and be married.
Yeah, let's just stop. We're not gonna have it. We were just kidding, Steve. Are there any visitors from the adult leadership group? We normally have some folks visit, so there's not anybody here for that. A couple things wanted to bring up. One is we're in the process of getting through our search for our city manager. We have gotten 8 people that we're going to have come in on February 28th for about 8 hours to spend time asking questions to the candidates, and we have a list of the people that we'll be talking with. They are Brad Peters, Gary Palmer, Kelly Janis, Butch Patterson, Scott Collins, Gary Carver, Scott Keith, and Andy Broyles. So 4 of those folks are from our community, and then 4 are from outside of the town or outside of the area. A lot of them have experience in the region. So we'll get those done and see where we go on the next step. Pete Auger, who is working with us through the MTAS, will be here at 8 o'clock on the 28th and spend about 30 minutes with us talking about interview or the questions that we're going to ask and how we're going to ask them and those kinds of things. So that'll be here at 8 a.m. and we should be through around 4:30 or 3:30 p.m. Keeping our fingers crossed. What else is there?
That's it.
Okay, got a lot of folks here today, so we'll go ahead and get started. Public comment. First of all, I've got Chris Nicely has asked if he could speak, so I'm going to ask him to come up right now.
Hi, I'm Chris Nicely. I'm owner of Nicely Done Barbershop at 811 Tusculum Boulevard. And I've come before y'all to, I guess, to get y'all to take into consideration of revising the flag ordinance. If I'm not mistaken, that flag ordinance has been in existence since 1996. I may be wrong about that, but it's been a long time anyway. When I talked to the gentleman at the planning office, I think his name is Bert or whatever. But anyway, he had gave me some reasons why the flag, people were complaining about it. They said it's I guess a clutter thing or whatever, and it makes a lot of noise, but I'm kind of a geek. I did a little research on these flags and come to find out, it says a free flying rectangular flag typically only have one side attached to the pole, leaving the rest of the fabric free whipped. The whipping source is the primary noise, so it's making more noise. Our American flag is whipping, making a louder noise than a feather flag that's flying. And as far as, I think the council really needs to consider that, not just for my business, but other businesses also, because that generates business for people like myself. I bring my flag out of the morning. Well, I don't do it anymore, but I take it out of the morning and bring it back in the evening. And so for a lot of people coming in, we have a lot of new people moving into Greenville. Everybody can agree on that. Like they notice businesses like mine because of that flag. Otherwise, they would not even know the other business there or anything. But I'd really like you guys to really think about that because, I mean, we talk about clutter and eyesores. There's a lot more than just flags that are clutter and eyesores in this town, trust me. But that's about all I have to say about these flags. But like I said, it generates business for us and for out-of-town people that doesn't know where a barbershop may be or where else do I see one? Or bicycle shop maybe. So that's what I'm asking you guys today, to reconsider revising that ordinance. At least I've done some research. A lot of towns, Morristown, Johnson City, thriving. Guess what they have flying? The feather flags. They're not bothering anybody. Now, I do agree, I hate to see the ones that are tore and just a mess. I hate those. So, I mean, if you do revise the ordinance, put that in there. You got to maintain your flag. But really, towns are thriving around us. So since 19, can't go by what people's feelings in the town. Hey, this looks bad. But like I said, we have bigger eyesores in Greenville City than the feather flag. So I thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to come and speak with you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate you coming in. We'll talk and see what we can do. Thank you. All right, we also have David Bailey, I think, but I'm going to wait until we get to the Tennis Association discussion, or the tennis courts, before you come up, if that's okay, David. Is there anybody else? Those two? Okay. All right, we'll go to unfinished business. Item 6.1 is consideration to approve the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting held on February 3rd, 2026. Those were sent out last Friday, so you had a chance to review them. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Start with new business. Item 7.1 is consideration to approve a resolution to assume general obligation 2016A remaining debt from the Greenville Municipal Airport Authority. Hello, Laura.
Hello.
Thank you.
So, in October, had a conversation with the comptroller, our representative there, as well as our auditors. This came up in the audit as part of the discussion for the airport separating from the town. This debt issue that the airport has been paying, at least since I've been here, they've been paying it, is a refinance of variable rate debt from 2003 that had a rate as high as 7%. And that there's a reason we don't have variable rate debt. We're not permitted to do that anymore. But we refinanced that, and then there was a large litigation settlement for the airport that this money was also used for. There are 15 years remaining on the debt. Principal and interest payments range between $117,500 and $120,000 a year. This is not airport revenue-backed debt. It is backed by our property taxes. So, in the conversation with both of those individuals in October, in fiscal year 2026, the town appropriated $85,000 in an operating transfer to the airport. That debt is $120,000, principal and interest. We were giving the airport, that's their largest expenditure outside of their fuel purchases, so in their operating budget. And so the recommendation was we were giving them 70% of that payment. And so that reaches a threshold to where we need to put that debt back on the town's books where it belongs, where it's backed by taxpayer debt. That has a net effect of a positive $35,000 to the airport. The proposal is, in the resolution, is for the town to assume that debt and no other operating transfer on an annual basis to the airport authority, with the exception of a grant match. I think that's all the information I had listed to give you. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that? The timing of the airport separation, as well as the percentage of taxpayer money we were giving the airport to pay the taxpayer debt. This was the recommendation from both of those individual commentaries.
So the state and our auditor.
Our auditors both, yes. Mm-hmm.
So the initial expenditure was $1.6 million.
Was $1.615 million, yes. $680,000 of that was the litigation settlement. The rest of that was just refinancing construction debt that was on those variable rate terms.
Okay.
And if you look on page 8 in your packet, that's the first page of the repayment schedule. You'll notice the first few years that they paid on this from 2016 until the end of FY24 was interest only, because they also had revenue debt for another capital project that was refinanced in 2016 from variable rate. That debt was backed by airport revenues, and they have paid that off. They've satisfied that debt.
Okay, so one more time, it's 100 and
It's around 120, give or take
for
a little bit. Mm-hmm.
how many years?
15 more years. The last payment is in 2041. Yes, September of 2041 is the last debt payment.
Okay, so we have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion to approve? So moved.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I want to make sure I'm understanding this.
Okay.
The airport is not going to ask for a yearly,
No, in conversations with Angela and even Paul over the last couple years, they have realized that this, from their viewpoint, this is a large expenditure that's related to the airport that is on their books. And they've asked the town to take that over before. They've been able to continue to pay that debt on their own. The issue we have now is this year's budget, they needed such a large operating transfer. We're giving them taxpayer money to pay taxpayer debt. And so the recommendation is to pull that debt over into the general fund where our, yes.
I understand. Thank you.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
I guess you get to stay up for another discussion, don't you?
Two more.
Item 7.2 is consideration to approve a resolution and repayment schedule for a loan provided by the Greenville Energy Authority for the development of Hardin Industrial Park and Mount Pleasant Industrial Park. The total due to GEA is $625,713.51.
I'm going to give you a little bit of history, and then if you have specific questions, Mrs. Mingle and Mr. Wells are here, and I will have to defer to them. This is way before my time. But in 1993, for Mount Pleasant Industrial Park, and then in 2000 for Hardin Industrial Park, GEA was permitted for economic development purposes, to loan money to get that, to get those parks moving, get them constructed and moving forward, and correct me if I'm wrong. And so, for whatever reason, and they may have more information and insight than I do, this is just one of those things that's sat, and now we've got attention called to it, and we need to settle up and take care of it. The agreement states that the town of Greenville is responsible for paying that debt. I've talked to Paige, and she's conferred with Mr. Wells. So they've allowed us to pay this back to them over a 7-year period. And page 14 in your packet, that's $89,387.64 a year for the next 7 years. And there's also a provision, and this is an interest-free loan, by the way. There's also a provision in the original contract that I have in the resolution at their request, and I 100% concur, is that if at any time the industrial park property sells, those proceeds are intended to reduce or eliminate the debt first. Questions?
And this was this was done in 93?
Long time ago.
80?
Long time ago.
I mean, when?
The original agreement was 1993, that was Mount Pleasant, and the second agreement was for 2000, and that was for the Hardin Industrial Park.
You were still in high school, weren't you? Something like that.
We weren't too far out of high school then, all right? Okay.
Is there any further questions or?
There really wasn't a term in there that I saw for repayment other than just the property sale. So it was kind of an open-ended in the original agreement. Our auditors have called it to our attention, so actually they did that about 5 years ago.
And I do think in just kind of reading and researching a little bit with TVA, the new legislation now will not allow utility revenues to be used for things like this. They were back then, but they're not now. And so TVA had a request in about 2000, 2001 to settle this up as well.
Okay, does everybody understand what we're looking at? Do I hear a motion
I
to,
just want to let it be known that I do sit on the GEA board,
okay.
is all. I think I can still vote on it too.
What do you think?
Motion, I make a
A
motion to
motion to
approve.
approve. And a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks for your,
Interest-free loan.
yes,
We like
for
it.
30 years. Y'all want to load me some for the next 30 years? Nah, probably not. Item 7.3 is consideration to approve a resolution to adopt an ACH, Automated Clearinghouse, fraud policy for the town of Greenville.
Okay, this is the last one for me today, and then I'll go back and sit down.
I will get you back
This one
up here
doesn't involve any
probably.
money. So basically, what this policy is, and I gave you, the one in your packet was the example, and then I have been out of the office with the flu at the end of last week, and so you should have the revised policy in front of you now. That's actually the Town of Greenville policy. It's basically the same outline, and what this is there's a group called NACHA, that basically is the national association that takes care of these payments and receipts that we get, and it's basically ACH is Automated Clearinghouse. That's just an automatic, it's a direct deposit into our bank account, or it's a payment that we push on our end that involves no check. It's all electronic. It's not a wire. It's just literally we go into the bank account and we pay a bill. For example, that's how we pay our insurance bill to Blue Cross Blue Shield, is we just pay them directly. That was at their request, that's in our contract. On the receipt side, we get all of our grant monies and our state shared revenues directly deposited into our bank account. And so this policy is now required by June for all local government entities, really any entity that has these transactions in their financial portfolio and their activity. And it lays out steps, definitions and steps, and what our response is going to be. Should something happen? If something happens, what's the protocol? What does that look like? Who do we notify first? What's the process? So it standardizes that. Everybody in my office will know this policy will be emailed to everybody, of course, that works in my office that handles all this sort of stuff. We also are going to send a copy to the bank, and our auditors will be looking for this in October. It's a national requirement to do this, and this is basically just our steps as far as notifying the police, IT, the bank, should we have a compromise on our bank account, or even just an invoice compromise, or a questionable deposit. I will say we have a service that we pay for through Andrew Johnson Bank called Positive Pay, and every day through new technology, it will identify something that doesn't look normal. For example, if we write a check, our normal vendor is not Kathy Osborne. Occasionally, she may get something for a travel reimbursement, but that's not a normal vendor, so it's going to flag her just based on the vendor. If we write a check to Summers Taylor for $450,000 and their normal average is 70, it's going to flag that, and we have to go in and manually tell the bank to pay those and double check those every day, every single business day that we're open. And so there are 3 of us in my office that are watching those, as well as another person that watches the bank account on a daily basis.
Okay. Will you do training with everyone?
In my office, we've already had training. Actually, we were offered training by First Tennessee Bank. They had a sort of a regional session back in the fall about this very thing. And then I've had regular meetings with Andrew Johnson Bank on the Positive Pay. They check in with me frequently. Is that working? Does it help us to be able to do that? And then, of course, between myself, Kathy, the new city manager, and the IT team will be kind of reviewing this on an annual basis to make sure if we need to change language, if we need to follow up on anything. And our cyber policy is also going to require this as well.
The who?
Our cybersecurity policy is also going to require this as well.
And I think it says middle of June that it has to be done.
Yes, sir.
Are we doing it already? or
I'm doing
can
it
we?
already, yes, sir.
Okay, good. So we just need an approval of this policy?
Yes, sir.
It's not costing anything?
It doesn't cost, no, this is just basically our steps to, what we're going to do to prevent definitions, what to look for, and then what our response actually is.
And what is NACHA?
That's the National Association for the Automated Clearinghouse. That's just the governing group, for lack of a better word, that monitors and manages all these transactions for different entities across the country. And so they're the ones that are actually requiring this for anybody through the banking institutions, through everybody.
Paige, I'm not putting you on the spot, but are y'all doing this also? Does the school system also? Good. All right. Well, we have a recommendation. Do I hear?
Is that your recommendation?
It is. We need to pass this policy. Yes, sir.
I make a motion.
Second.
Approve.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, next is consideration to approve a resolution of the policies and procedures for the 2025 home grant.
So the town received this grant a couple months ago, and this is just the next step in the process. We got this grant probably back in the 2020 timeframe. It's a 3-year grant. Policies and procedures are standard policies and procedures of how the grant will be administered. It's a 3-year grant. It goes in the description here of who's eligible to apply. And First Tennessee Development District has handled this grant for us in the past, and they'll be the ones that oversee this grant contract for us this round as well. And normally in the period of March, April, they'll start sending out applications. Applications will be made available for those that would like to apply. You can reach out to the First Tennessee Development District now, and Renee Mann is our grant contract. But this is just making sure our policies and procedures are followed to THDA standards. This grant comes down from the federal government, from USDA, and just making sure that it's fair and equitable to our community.
Can you explain a little bit what that money can be used for?
So individuals have to use their residence as their primary residence, and there is some income guidelines that have to be followed, and it's based on a point system, so it's based on how many people live in your household, the criteria of your income, and then also what your needs are. So some of the home repairs that can be done is if you need a ADA walkway to get to your house, if you need some basic plumbing or roofing or windows. There's different criteria that's listed in there as an eligible activity. But hopefully in the next month or so, First Tennessee Development District assured me that they send out a public notice to let people know that applications are available. Once that notice goes out, and she also makes me aware, I'm looking at Virginia because she helps, she's my contact. She's the one that helps and spreads the applications out there in the community. But those applications actually go directly to Renee Mann at First Tennessee Development District, and then they're the ones that take it from there. But once those are available, we'll make sure that we post that on our town website and our social media. And then those applications, not only could you get them from First Tennessee Development District directly, or we have those available at Town Hall once we get through this step. So this was the next step in the process. It's just for you all to approve the basic policies and procedures. And then, of course, the next item is to make sure that you allow First Tennessee Development District to administer that grant for us.
So item 7.4 is approval of the policies and procedures, and you recommend.
Yes.
We have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Item 7.5 is consideration to approve an agreement with First Tennessee Development District for administrative services of the 2025 home grant.
This just follows this too. There just needed to be two separate approvals. This one's just allowing First Tennessee Development District to administer this grant contract for the town.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do I hear an approval or a motion to approve? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. If you aren't aware of the First Tennessee Development District and all the activities that they have going on for the First Tennessee Development District, it's a great organization and it helps us in so many ways. Disability and ADD, whatever is it, what is it now, DDA, ADDD? Triple AD, okay. But there are numbers of different options that they have to help us. Item 7.6 is consideration to approve tennis court repairs at Sports Complex on Hal Henry Road. Butch?
Hello.
How are you?
Y'all have some things before you, but in the last roughly 30 to 45 days that we've been working on this, there's needing some new things come to light. We had a meeting between the Parks and Rec, the Tennis Association, and the school system representatives, as well as Baseline Sports, on really making sure that we were doing the right thing with the amount of monies that we're going to have and what we're trying to get accomplished. And worked with Andy Broyles. First thing we done was also made sure that, did we have a water problem? Was that what was creating the issues or not? We determined that fortunately was not an issue. We brought Baseline in, who actually built the courts when they were done. And basically we have found out is it's a paving issue. Tennis courts roughly are going to last 20 to 25 years before you do the nuclear option. For example, Link Hills has basically did the nuclear option twice in the last 50 years. So after looking at everything and speaking with everybody involved, we want to make sure that we have 3 courts that are 100% what we need to have. When we looked at the clay courts and turning them into hard courts, at that point in time, as when we discussed, Greenville High School was in the AA part, which means if they needed to host something, there's big school and small school in tennis. At one point in time, they were in the large division, so if they were going to host something, they would need 8 courts. They now have been reclassified. They are in the small division. So if they are able to host, and correct me if I'm wrong, tennis folks, but if they're needing to host now, they only have to have 6. They do not have to have 8. Makes a difference. So what I'm going to recommend is, when you look at the paperwork I give you, that we go with total reconstruction of the 3 courts. It's a little bit shy of the money obligated, which is 75 from the school system, 75 from the county. We had agreed to put in 75, so it's 248,657. So we're roughly about a little less than $24,000 difference. But there are some options to maybe cut that, but you know, it's kind of like if you're building a new home or you're renovating a home, do you leave your 1978 bathroom? We don't need to do that. So my recommendation is going to be that we do the option 1 of the 248,657. We have got to figure out, okay, where the other remaining 23,657 is coming from. We do have a commitment or a pledge from the Tennis Association, and I will say, there's been a revitalization and rejuvenation in the tennis system, in the Tennis Association. There's some folks that have came back on board that maybe hadn't been part of the group for a while. There's a little bit of a renewed energy there. I can't say enough about David Weems and Mr. Bailey, who've worked diligently the last, David's work, they've been there since the start. They continue. David's came back on. There's some other folks coming back on. So with that being said, I think we need to do the 248,657. They're making a commitment that they want to resurface, pledge the 30,160 to do the other 3 courts, which will basically buy us a 5 to 7 year window. But at some point in time, once we do that 5 to 7 year window, then those 3 courts are going to be between 25 to 30-year-old. Hopefully they don't bring up the issues that we have now in the current 3. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but we don't have a crystal ball. And get this done. And so at the end of the day, if fortunate enough that, you know, we want to make sure it maintains and stays a first-class facility.
But you said that the 248 of resurfacing, when you all did the initial evaluation, it was due to a pavement issue. Is there a plan, if we go with the 248 and we completely, you know, new construction, is there a plan in place for routine maintenance moving forward? Is there some reason why was there a lack of maintenance that contributed to the pavement cracking? Like, I just want to know if there's like a plan.
We brought, like I said, that's why we brought in baseline, and you know, we didn't know if we had a water issue. But the more we've delved into it, and as I said, we did borings and things to make sure it wasn't a water issue, so we ruled that out. And after bringing baseline back in, who actually built the courts, he's basically, they paved them. It's 11-foot section that they pave them. And he just said after, you know, it's like a road. After a certain amount of time, that pavement is going to, where it expands and contracts and backward, it's going to start cracking. And the cracks just kept getting bigger and bigger. So that's wherein lies that every roughly 20 to 25 years, you're going to have to resurface your courts. And we're getting to that point. That's where we're at. And so hopefully, with the help of the Tennis Association, and refinish the other 3 courts, that's going to give us another 5 to 7 year window to where we don't have to do a total reconstruction on those 3. So to let you know, the 3 that we're going to reconstruct are closer to what was the VOTEC. The 3 that we're going to just resurface is closer to the ball fields. If you're familiar, obviously you're familiar, so if that helps. Yes.
What about the clay courts?
What will
Long
happen with
term.
the clay courts is they will no longer be in existence. We are going to keep the fence up. We're not going to tear that down to where if there ever is future consideration or need for more courts, it's there. But we are going to basically, it will be grassed over and we will be keeping it nice and neat and clean to where now if you go down there, it's like, that does not look very good.
No, she's okay.
Butch?
Yes.
Christine, if you'll go back to the options, please. The option, the 248,
Yes.
completely having 3 brand-new courts. Is this enough for our tennis teams, the boys and girls tennis teams, to host other schools in?
Yes, because and currently they're able to utilize the other 3 courts as well. So that will get, and what we're going to do for this spring, obviously our timetable's ticking as we've talked about with making sure we secure the county funds before June 30th. The high school tennis team will play there this spring. Construction is what we're going to try to line up is get going just as soon as they're completed, to where then we know we've got stuff going on and we secure the funds from the other organizations before their end of the year function. And so at that point in time, it will be what it be. However long we got to shut it down to get it done, we will. Which we will still have the other 3 courts that we'll be able to play on while that's going on, because the resurfacing, as I said, that the Tennis Association is talking about, they've came up with some ways to look at funding to come up with that additional $30,160.
I guess I'm not understanding the other 3 courts. we can play on them now?
Yes, yes.
They're
And-
still,
Yes, and two of the three courts is, we can play on as well.
Two
There's
of
really
the-
One of the three is in, we got a problem.
So one of the 6 is terrible, not good at all.
It's,
And
Go ahead.
5 of the 6 you can play on, but they're not as good.
All 6, we just have to.
because there's good-sized cracks in that one of that 6.
Yeah. Okay, and what kind of funding can you share on that?
Well, I was gonna say, Butch basically talked about a lot of things that I had myself was gonna say, but we've set a goal that the board has,
Can you talk in the mic so folks can hear you
board,
online?
goal in the next few months to raise the funding to resurface courts 4, 5, and 6, the 3 closest to the ball fields. And as Butch said, that's going to give us another 5 to 7 years life of those courts. It may go past that if they don't crack as much again. So, but for certain, 5 to 7 years. We plan to fund, raise enough funds to take care of that project ourselves. As far as GCTA, we run on about a $10,000 budget a year. So it's a small budget. So we've got Bart Kennedy coming back in, that is going to be a great boost to us. Bart doing his clinics and things, teaching, so we'll have some income from Bart, bringing that in. But our goal is to basically help grow the tennis numbers again. And as Butch just said, we've got some board members that have been around a long time that have come back on, understand what it used to be, and we feel like we can get it back to where it was before. So that is our goal, is to fundraise and bring people in to play tennis.
Do you have some ideas about how you're going to raise that money?
We've, there are some USTA and Tennessee Association grants that we've applied for, one of those for sure. There's other grants we'll be applying for. We're going to kind of do a blitz. We're not going to be shy about having our hand out, asking the local people to participate in that, and that'll be a big chunk of where the funds will come from.
so we're at I guess, a point to where the county is offering for the land swap, 75,000. The school has, I think, already passed, is what I read. Is that correct, Steve? Yes, sir. 75,000, and we were going in, so we're a little shy. Let's just say
23.
25,000, which is basically it. And does that include fencing?
It will.
It will, okay.
It will.
That's,
So we're like 90-something thousand.
I'm sorry.
So we're at like 90-something thousand our contribution.
Yes, it'd be.
I make a motion to approve it. We got to take care of our things. And time is of the essence, and I make a motion to approve it.
Definitely need it for our school system. also,
We've got to
since
have it
we
for the
have boys and girls
schools. We've got to
tennis.
have it. We've got willing partners to try to meet the gaps, fill the gaps, so.
We have people on the board now, or that came back, that was there when it was originally done. And I will have to say, when you look at the original situation regarding the tennis facility, what they done at that point in time, the city only had $50,000 in it, as far as actual money when it was built. Now, obviously, we've maintained it since then, but they did a phenomenal job of helping raise the lion's share of the money to build that facility. And it is a very, very nice facility. I just think that we need to go ahead and do these 3, that way you all may be here, but a lot of us will be long gone before we have to worry about those 3 courts again.
Well, we have our debt service. I mean, we're sitting here spending money and we haven't asked the person that holds the purse strings over here.
She's been aware.
She was going to
I was
start
waiting my turn.
talking. Okay.
So, go ahead, Mr. T.
Well, no, I was just saying, so far, we've taken over the debt service. Of course, that's not new debt service for the airport. And now having a debt service of $89,000 to pay GEA back, can we add this to it?
So
It's
I was going to ask the question about the funding source for the 75 or the 90. I will tell you that you still have bond proceeds that need to be spent. And since this is reconstructing from the ground up, it is a capital project, and those monies can be used for that.
To be clear, that's Depot Street.
Yes, that's the 300, we got a little more than 300,000 left. And since that project is in limbo, as I understand, you do have an opportunity to use the bond monies to construct these courts. So I really would appreciate some guidance on a funding source. Do you want fund balance, or do you want to use the debt proceeds?
And originally, when when we were looking at different options before your last meeting, we were talking about resurfacing repairs instead of reconstruction. So when Laura and I talked about that, you can't use the bond proceeds for repair, but you can for reconstruction.
Yes.
So we would have to do this by the end of the year, the end of the fiscal year?
Well, not necessarily. If you commit those bond proceeds to this, part of them, then we have some of that money that's already moving, and then the rest of it, we can still allocate to the walkway, if that's the intended use for the rest of it.
There's 300,000.
There's a little more than
roughly.
300, yes, sir.
A little more than 300 left in the bond.
Yes.
Butch, when you all met with them recently, and I know
Them?
Baseline, GCTA, City Schools, and you, and Parks and Rec, did they give you a timeline? I know the timeline has always been an issue of,
We definitely gotta get on their schedule, and as Laura alluded to, obviously, if we can get things started
into April.
or as soon as the tennis team is done, then, it may be a situation where those monies will earn from the other two groups, we will definitely have in line. Now, to tell you that it will be done, completed by June 30th, where everybody can wrap it up, that may not be feasible or doable as far as the timeline goes. At least get it started where we secure the funds from the two other groups before their end of the year situation happens to where we have the money.
One other thing I'd like, depending on which way we go, as we can see, we've got a number of things that we agreed to do numbers of years ago and didn't. It fell through the cracks. People left, but if we're gonna make this commitment, we need to make it a commitment that we can all live with, just because.
And I agree with you. And I'm going to say that, and we spoke about this in the meeting, if we resurface the other three closest to the ball, we're lucky, and 5 years from now, all we need to do is resurface those three again. Well, it's a $30,000 cost right now. Well, that needs to be split three ways. City, tennis association, school system. We know that's coming. 5 to 7 years, we know that that's coming. And so, and they talked about that as well as okay, as you alluded to, we need to make sure that we're preparing for that 5 to 7 years down the road. What's the next obstacle that we've got to overcome?
Without going completely backwards here, is this something we have to send out RFQs or RFPs on to bid this process?
Well, and we're checking on it now, and
We don't, we do not. We are if I understand correctly, Baseline has a contract with, Knoxville. So we are permitted to piggyback on those contracts. For example, the county bids out Summers Taylor every year, and Vulcan, and so we're allowed to piggyback on their bids rather than duplicating the efforts. So that is correct. Since they already have a contract with another municipality, we are able to piggyback on that contract and not have to bid that out.
Is the striping and stuff like that, is that something you do?
that'll all be included
Okay.
in this process.
I just wondered why the
did it
bidding
with,
process.
We worked with the clay course and helping with that, but this year will all be helping.
Yeah, because it's got to be exact.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve this
Well, I
project?
still haven't heard how we're paying for it,
I think-
because we're up to $100,000. Or do we need to decide that, or just decide, yes, we're going to fix these courts somehow?
That was my understanding. That was what my motion was for.
That's the reason I brought that up.
I think since we don't have a whole lot of direction on the walkway, we know this needs to be done.
That would be my recommendation, is to use the bond money.
Okay.
That still leave us with 250,000 or so to do that walkway. I'll second.
Okay, we
But
have-
does he need to amend his motion?
I will amend my motion to approve the project using bond proceeds, yes,
From Depot Street.
from the Depot Street project.
Thank you.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Item 7.7 is consideration to approve change in scope of services of the 2023 CDBG grant, Bernard Avenue Sidewalk Improvement Project.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is a proposal to adjust the scope of services on this Bernard Avenue sidewalk project. And you've got some documentation there, but I'll give you a little or a little update on that, or a little history. You remember, this was a community development block grant that was awarded in 2023 to the city for sidewalk improvements on Bernard Avenue, originally from Tuscan Boulevard all the way to McKee, and on one side of the road. And it was determined early in the project in 2024 that a portion of that from East Church Street to McKee was not going to be able to be completed due to, there's a large propane storage tank there that's right near the soccer complex, and that complicated using these funds because that conflicted with some of the funding regulations in this, as far as that could be too close to pedestrian improvements. So it was decided at that time to revise the scope already. It's already been revised once. And it was revised to just include from Tuscan Boulevard to East Church Street, but to add improvements around the Eastview, the Parks and Rec facility there at Eastview School. So that was the plan. It's kind of just been sitting on the shelf and not moving forward a lot. And I was really looking into this thing, and I'm trying to figure out a way that we can get this thing moving and moving quickly, because there's a time limit on this grant of 5 years so it has to be completed by 2028. So we've been sitting here 3 years and we're really not getting anything done. So the issue was, the reason moving forward, that the reason I'm asking to split this into two phases, one around the Eastview Rec Center and the other, the balance of the road down Bernard. The section down Bernard, everybody's driven through there, you know, that section where the sidewalk is, I guess I don't know what side of the road that is, on the side toward the Y. Most of those sidewalks, the street has been paved over and paved over to the point where it's raised up almost even with the sidewalk. Property owners have paved their parking lots even with sidewalks. The sidewalk really just is a strip there. It doesn't exist as a sidewalk. People just drive over it. Well, that is prohibited in our zoning ordinance. We have to have controlled entry points in and out of a business. So the plan was to put back the original entry points. It's what JMT had designed. They're visible there on all those businesses. You can see where the original curb cuts were, where they went in and out. Well, I was concerned about how that's going to impact all those business owners, and come to find out that I don't think we've had any communication with any of those business owners to see if they even want this, if it's going to impact their business and their parking severely. So, and trying to keep this thing moving forward quickly, I come up with this idea, and we'd ask JMT if we can do this, to split it into two phases. Phase one on the town-owned and controlled property around Eastview and the rec center. Phase two, the balance of that. So it would give us the opportunity to have meetings and talk with those property owners and explain to them up and down Bernard what would be the implications if we do this sidewalk improvement, to see if it's something they want, but at the same time, we could get the improvements going around Eastview quickly. So we've talked with First Tennessee Development District, who's administering this grant. We can do this. It's not an issue. They can amend the contract. JMT has provided back a proposal that's in your documents there of what it would look like to split this into 2 phases. And so with that said, we can do it. There are going to be some additional costs, but I try to find a way to make it feasible, because they're going to have some additional engineering fees to be able to redesign this part around Eastview. There were some issues there with that design, and that's sort of in the little sketch I showed you. They originally had it designed, well, I had just sketched this out, so what's in yellow would be the proposed new sidewalks, and parking, oversized parking there, because that's what's parked there now. We have a lot of large trucks, SUVs, all up and down that side. The original JMT design, I don't think had much direction from the town on what we wanted, and they had proposed parallel parking spaces up the right there as you're going to Eastview, and there's only like 12 parking spaces. We redesigned it this way, we can get 34 parking spaces. So this was the plan. So it's going to take a little bit of engineering revision. So that was going to take a little more money. But what we did, I thought this is a great opportunity for the town. I sort of proposed a hybrid model. So one of the things that was a line item in there that there was some excess money that I thought we could redistribute was in the construction inspection. So what we have proposed is that JMT remove that out of there and the town take that over, so that JMT will still be in charge of the bidding out, the initial construction meetings, the reviewing the RFIs that come in, and the town would do the actual construction inspection on that phase of the sidewalk. So I think that's a good opportunity for us. Be a great opportunity on a relatively simple civil engineering project that we can train some people in-house hopefully between development services, the building department, public works, to do these kind of inspections, because we don't have that expertise right now. And it'll be really beneficial with some other projects that have been going on if we had some people that were able to do those kind of inspections. And we've identified some training that was brought to our attention through MTAS coming up soon, where we can train some of these individuals. And I myself would take on the responsibility of making sure that we get this done. But if we do this, and we ask JMT to propose this way, we asked First Tennessee Development District, is this a problem? First Tennessee Development said no, that this is done often by municipalities, that they use in-house personnel to do the inspections. It's not a problem. And this would allow us to move this thing forward quickly. So we're not actually asking for any more money. There's enough money to move around in the budget to make this happen. And we can push this with a really aggressive approach. They can have if we go this way, everything is pretty much done. We can get the construction documents done in about another month, be ready to bid this thing, so we can start construction the day that school's out. So this could be done this summer and be completed before school goes back into session in the fall. So I'm glad to answer any questions you got. But I mean, that essentially we're asking to revise the scope, and I don't think we're not gonna have to add any additional funds to it at this point.
How much was the original grant, do you know?
The grant amount for the whole thing is like 600 and some thousand. That's including the construction.
3660.
630.
Yep.
630?
So the original engineering contract was $176,000. So this revised part is 126 of that. So that left 50 on the other section. The other section of the down Bernard, the plans are already done to about 70% completion for construction documents. I just told them to pause until we had a time to talk with the business owners to see if we need to tweak anything, so we didn't have to go back and revise
JMT
it.
give you any idea how much it would cost to finish that 70%? After
Yes.
they take this out?
After they take this out, they think that they can finish it within, if I take the construction inspection out and we take that on as a town, they think they can finish it within the original $176,000 contract. Now, I don't know, you're probably going to ask this question, so I did a little research, but we can't, I wanted to see, could we use that labor, whatever we're going to use in-house, to be part of the match? And the answer was no, because it was not in the original
Right.
application for the grant.
Right.
So we cannot, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. But I do think, in a little bit of research I did, it would be a benefit to the town, because I think on the next CBDG grant application we have, it would look really favorable in the town that we added resources to it after the fact it was awarded to it. Is going to be a check mark in our column when we try to apply for another one of these in the future.
You talk to Butch, he's good with the design?
Yes, I think that's going to help us with, so that's going to have a sidewalk that's going to improve down Tuscan Boulevard there, and a nice sidewalk that's going to go all the way up to Eastview and improve some crosswalks there, and we get more, basically maybe a little bit more parking than we've got now, but a lot nicer parking right there. And I'd had them add into this some drainage or stormwater controls in there, because there was none in the original design. And it was just, I don't know how they were planning on handling the water. It's just going to pool in that's the lower section of that parking lot. But we've got all that in this proposal also.
That's where the water goes anyway.
Yes.
There's a big
But
hole.
they had
behind
no
it.
plan for it.
That's why I'm not sure that 24 feet there's going to be. It drops off pretty quickly behind that tree line.
Yeah.
It does, but we did a field visit out there with the two engineers from JMT and took a look at it and took some measurements. I think we're okay. It's going to be tight, but I think we're okay.
That's all field area right there. It always has been.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept this change in scope?
I make a motion that we accept the change in scope as long as it doesn't go over and we do, I guess, the field reviews on the remaining part of this grant, what's left.
Okay.
As long as
Good.
we don't go over our original budget.
That's my understanding.
Let's do that. That
Okay.
sounds better.
All right. Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Broyles.
You're welcome.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
Second? All those say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Everybody stay and eat.
Where's our guest of honor?
He's standing outside.
Okay.
He's shaking hands outside.
He's trying to skate